The federal government subsidizes vaccine research and development to the tune of billions of dollars each year. The federal government passed laws removing the vaccine manufacturers from liability from the death and disability caused by their products. State and federal governments mandate vaccines. State and federal governments purchase vaccines. And the federal government compensates those people who manage to successfully get through the vaccine injury compensation program. This is the biggest racket anywhere on the planet. I don't know of any other industry that has this kind of support from government.
The science, some of the science at the CDC may well have been fraudulent.
Paul Thorson, who was one of the study authors in the 2003 study that's been informally referred to as the Danish study, was hired by the CDC to pull together research to show that vaccines don't cause autism.
What steps has the CDC undertaken to ensure the integrity of the research that was performed by Dr. Thorson, who, as you know, has been indicted for misconduct and misallocation of resources?
Dr. Thorson, who was a co-investigator on a couple of studies that came out on autism, was really just one investigator, and that body of evidence related to vaccines and autism.
All right. Have you gone back to validate the variety of studies he participated in? I mean, you know this guy is a humongous scumbag, one of the most wanted men on earth, and you relied upon him for data to determine whether thimerosal had a negative effect. One of the witnesses told me that the fugitive doctor had been involved in a couple studies with CDC, and I have information here that he was involved in 21 of the 24 studies, and I would like to submit that to the record.
In April of 2011, Paul Thorson was indicted on 13 counts of fraud and 9 counts of money laundering with the CDC, calling into question, as far as I'm concerned, all of his research supposedly showing that vaccines don't cause autism.
As far as we can see, the U.S. government has done almost nothing to bring this man back to justice and to find out what's going on.
Simpsonwood was the transcripts of a secret meeting that was held between CDC and representatives of the vaccine industry, in which they reviewed a report that CDC had ordered, the Verstraeten study, of the 100,000 children in the United States vaccine safety database, which they are talking about the undeniability of the connection between autism and thimerosal, the impossibility of massaging the data further in order to try to eliminate those signals. That's what they spend the first 2 hours. The rest of the meeting they spend talking about how do we hide this from the press, from the public, and what they call the predatory bar.
And if really these vaccines are so safe and effective as they're being sold as being, then why should they mind if there's no liability protection?
Protection from liability is giving companies no incentive to develop safer products.
One solution would be repeal the 1986 law, right? If the law were repealed, people could sue manufacturers directly. My guess is we'd see a lot safer vaccines.
They're going to consider their bottom line ahead of the safety.
You can't have it both ways. They can't be unavoidably unsafe and safe and effective at the same time.
Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, they have been forced into settlements, multi-billion-dollar settlements. And guess what? They're repeat offenders.
Vaccine policy and law is being driven by the pharmaceutical industry. We need to understand what that means. This is an industry that routinely engages in criminal behavior. In 2012, Glaxo got a $1 billion criminal fine. In 2009, Pfizer got a $1 billion criminal fine. Criminal and civil fines in the hundreds of millions of dollars in the pharmaceutical industry are common. No one should ever be required to take a product from an industry that routinely engages in criminal behavior.
The U.S. Department of Justice has sued them several times for criminal as well as civil crimes. Now, these are the same manufacturers who have complete immunity when it comes to vaccine injury. So they have no incentive whatsoever to worry about safety because the government has given them a pass.